you are going to have to complete the traditional research portion of your digital book project. This will be graded separately from your project, and it is worth 75 points. This will be a formal essay, and you need to make sure that you're incorporating MLA-style parenthetical citations. Any information sources will also be listed in a works cited page at the end of the book. Make sure that any images or other graphics that you use that are not your own are also cited in MLA style on the works cited page. If you're not quite sure how to cite an image, I highly suggest that you go to the online writing lab at Purdue and use their example for citing images. Your research essay needs to be at least 5 paragraphs in length. It needs to have an effective introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a concluding paragraph. And you may write more than 3 body paragraphs because you are doing a lot of research, but it isn't required. Make sure that you're quoting information, and not only quoting that information, but you want to make sure that you are properly introducing it, that you are integrating it within your own writing, that it's properly cited and fully explained. Do not just throw some information in there, then throw in a quote and then move on. It breaks up your reader's understanding, and it also interrupts the flow of the writing. So you want to make sure it's smoothly integrated and explained why you have that quote in there, and make sure that it brings value to your paper. Any paraphrased information that's borrowed from other sources must also properly be cited. You need to make sure that you are using at least 4 credible sources. So this could be books, database articles, newspapers, magazines, and credible websites. Again, remember, it is up to you to determine whether or not a website is credible. And it has been shown to you through these videos where to access pages on that would be helpful to you on assessing whether or not a website is credible. Again, do not use Wikipedia as a source. It can be a starting point. I have already shown you in the videos where you can find sources to look at their references, but do not use Wikipedia as itself. Do not use general references such as dictionaries or encyclopedias. They are lame, they are boring, and they are very general. They do not give you specific information. Do not use websites that are not credible. Look out for that bias and those agendas. And then make sure that when you're transferring your essay to your digital book, that you may add images and graphics, etc., that supplement the information, but you need to cite them. I should not see the images in your traditional essay when you're submitting it on a Word document, but you can add it when you are creating your digital book. You're going to turn in your essay separately to a Dropbox so it can be graded formally. Then you will also include it to your digital book, or it will be graded more holistically. Okay, so as you're going through your traditional research essay, there are several items that I want you to consider. Make sure that you have a strong introduction and conclusion. Okay, your introductions should start out with a hook to draw in your reader to the topic. There are several ways that you can create a hook, and all of these documents are available in the classroom, but some ideas of to use a hook would be a definition, a quotation or a paraphrase, a little known or striking fact, which might be good to grab your reader's attention, especially since you're going to be connecting your author to a bigger idea, a statement of opinion you intend to challenge, an interesting anecdote or incident related to your subject. So maybe you read something about your author that was incredibly interesting that helped push that author into your bigger topic. That would be a really good place to put that interesting anecdote. Or something that's also really helpful is asking a question that will be answered in your thesis. So you could ask one of those questions like, why shouldn't everyone have access to free dental care? You could ask one of those rhetorical questions. Something you could also do is you could just dive into it. Explain why the topic is worth writing and reading about. okay? If you want to go into more detail, again, this is available in the classroom. So after you have your hook, you're going to make sure that you expand your knowledge and give some relevant background information on your topic. You don't want to give too specific information here. That's what your body paragraphs are about. And then you're going to have a clear thesis statement that maps out the contents of your paper, okay? If you remember, a thesis statement is that complex sentence that captures the big overall ideas of your paper that you will discuss. It should be the last sentence in your introductory paragraph, and it make sure that it tells your reader exactly what to expect in the paper. Okay, this is going to be the main idea of what you're striving. So you want to make sure that your thesis statement is connecting your author to the big topic idea, because that is what you're going to be discussing through this project. If you need to look at examples for the introduction, I highly suggest taking a look at these documents that are in the classroom. There's a lot of really good information here, but you want to make sure that, sorry. Make sure that you have an attention grabber, that you expand on your attention grabber, then transition into your thesis statement, and then that you have your thesis statement, okay? There should be a flow to your introduction that leads your reader from your hook, then giving them that overview, and then that thesis statement, okay? Then, as you're developing your body paragraphs, first thing you should make sure that you have in every body paragraph is a topic sentence. Each body paragraph should have that topic sentence that introduces that idea of what you'll be discussing through the entirety of it. Your body paragraphs should look like a cheeseburger, and hopefully you've heard of this analogy before. The bun is what holds the topic sentence together. You have that closing sentence, and topic sentence and closing sentence. The meat is that quoted support. The cheese is the setup of the quote, and then you have that elaboration of the quote, which is the lettuce, tomatoes, and pickles and onions. That's that explanation. Remember, you shouldn't just be throwing a quote in there. You should really be supporting it and explaining it and connecting it to your main ideas. Okay? Again, really look at the examples that are available to you in the classroom if you're not quite sure on how to put together a body paragraph effectively. Once you have developed your body paragraphs, you're going to need to make sure that you have an effective conclusion. So you want to make sure that you restate the thesis, and this needs to be done in a different way. You should not be repeating your thesis statement and your concluding statement. You want to make sure that you're recapping your main ideas, and then end with a high impact. Leave your author or your reader seeking more. Make them want more from your essay, okay? Connect it back to that opening of the book. Make sure that there's like an insightful quote or call to action, maybe predicting the future. But you really want to make sure that you are leaving that lasting thought that makes your reader reflect on what you have just written, okay? Once you have developed your essay in a rough draft form, you're going to want to make sure that you revise and improve your essay. Do not just submit your rough draft. You want to make sure that you are revising and editing. Everyone needs to do this. My favorite way is to capturing errors is to read it out loud and revise the content issues. When you hear what is being said, it's wrong. You're going to hear what's wrong or awkward, and you can make notes. That's what I love about Google Docs and Word Docs. You could just like highlight, or you can add a comment real quick and come back to it and rework it to make sure it sounds clear. You want to make sure that you're fixing that paragraph structure, that it flows well. You also it's not on, I don't see it on here, but you want to make sure that you take a break before you try to revise and improve your writing. Because if you're waiting to the very end to get it submitted and you're not taking that time to give yourself a break, you're not going to see as many errors as you would have if you had just taken a little bit of break and then read it out loud. Something else that's really helpful, have someone else read your paper. You're going to have time in class to have someone do some peer reviews. This is a good place for them to explain where they feel lost or confused. You can ask a family member to do this, you can ask a friend to do this, you can even ask me to look at it if you'd like to kind of help guide you there. But make sure that you have someone else read your paper before you submit it. And then fix those grammatical, spelling, capitalization, punctuation errors. This hopefully would be the easiest thing for you to fix, but you want to make sure that commas are put in the proper place, that you're using proper punctuation to end sentences. All semester long, we've been going over writing fundamentals. This is where you're going to be actually, applying that information. Notice that after this editing happens, you're going to feel confident about the content of your paper and that it's well organized and communicated. Okay, there are some really great slides here that explain all sorts of different types of grammatical corrections that you could do for your paper. Remember that revision is not a one-step process. You may revise it and then come back and revise again. There's a good chance with a project of this length that you're going to, an essay of this importance, that you're going to have to revise a couple of times. And that's okay. That's the writing process. It's called a process for a reason. Okay? If you're not feeling confident, don't hesitate to ask questions. That's why I'm here. I want to teach. So make sure you're revising, editing, using the resources that are available to you. And once you have written your paper, added your works cited, incorporated those quotes, completed those paraphrasing, and revised and edited, have someone else look at it, revise and edit it again, and then double check for those grammatical and spelling errors, then submit it and feel good and start working on those multi-genre artifacts. Thank you.